Welcome to Ghosts and Grit.
Check out the studio.
Dude.
Now, before we begin,
Wow.
you have to meet our mascot.
No.
That was a once living human.
No way.
Yeah. He was acquired from it's either a Mason or an Oddfellows hole. Yeah.
How much is some of that run you?
That was like $5,000. It's like the going rate for a good skeleton, apparently.
Wow.
There's a market for this shit.
What about the head?
The head, if you just get the head, it's between $1,800 and $2,500.
Who gets the money?
I think the guy who found it. Yeah.
What about his family?
Maybe we have to do a DNA. Maybe there's some DNA we can maybe take from some teeth and find out. Oh, that would be great. If we could do a DNA, find any DNA on him.
Yes.
Put it in 23andMe.
Ooh, that would be cool. That's
Yeah.
crazy that that's real.
Yeah. These are AI images.
Wow.
Yeah, Midjourney and Reface, and we literally typed in like what we wanted in the imagery, and that's it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So that is not actually me. That is a fucking AI rendition of me.
That is so cool.
Isn't that rad?
Dude, it's insane. Like, it's so insane. Like, that's what I've been doing the last 3 years. I've been, like, getting all my shit together because I think there's going to be a tidal wave. Like, the meme you just showed me before we started. Like, I think people have no idea what's coming. And I'm seeing it, bro. You and I are in the same world. Like, first of all, I drive down Sunset. I cry. I want to do a whole tour from Virgil to Sunset all the way to Ocean. And the amount of for lease signs I see is insane.
Yeah.
We're talking a legacy street, probably a top 10 street in the world that you know.
Yeah.
And things that are not there. And then just these faceless buildings of like whatever, their server rooms or but so many people have left. And it's not happening in every city, but it's definitely happening in more than just LA. It's happening in New York.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people that are out of work. There's a lot of people that don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
This was a telling thing when I was in Florida. And I love a good cup of Dunkin', but they're not hiring, Fulbright scholars. And I love Dunkin', okay? But some people get the order wrong. Hey, I worked at Red Lobster. I wasn't the best, okay? But what I'm trying to say is, $14 an hour. There's the thing. You walk in, and it says, please meet as soon as you're done filling, and $100 bonus. They're desperate for workers.
Wow.
But that's just a gap before they can automate that thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't want to have people. So then that's going to be automated. But also, people don't want to work. They want to vape. They want to Twitch. They want to OnlyFans. And I know every generation says this, and it's like, oh, I'm old man hollers at cloud. But it's different this time. It really is.
It really is.
And they want to identify as Zelda or a unicorn. And they want to go to cons. And they want to just do what they want. Like nobody. And I understand it because I don't want to work either. And I'm fortunate that I've picked a life that I don't have to work.
Yeah.
I do what I love. So, but I see it. I see the collecting culture getting huge. I see the sneaker culture. I see Pokemon. I see memorabilia. So people are in that game. I see people being sports bettors. So no one wants to have a regular job, and they're not going to exist. But then I just see a lot of people that are like, where are we at in this world? And I think that there's just going to be like low-key zombie-ish shit. You know what I'm saying?
It really is. There's not it's I was watching something and it kind of hit me. It said this guy was talking and he was talking about invading another country. He's like, he was in the invasion of Iraq, and he was like, when I invaded Iraq, he said, I wasn't scared of women, I wasn't scared of children, I wasn't scared of old men, I was scared of fighting males, men in their fighting prime, with that's what 17 to 50. He's like, that age range was fucking terrifying because those were the people we were going to fight. He said, what better tactic than what we're seeing now in our society is to completely fucking break down men between 17 and 50, make them soft, weak, knock him down all the rungs in society, that you're the low man on the totem pole. And I'm like, fuck, man, we're seeing it. There's no encouraging young guys to go out there and like do hard work and fucking, you can't even say pull yourself up by the bootstraps anymore. That's a bad term according to fucking Congress.
What's wrong with the bootstrap?
This fucking AOC said some shit about like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and how it's like not a cool thing to say. It's like,
do you know that you can't say manhole?
You can't say manhole
in Berkeley. Just say people hole.
People hole.
Yo, this girl, she had a fucking sweet people hole. Too far? Too far?
Damn, I want to see your people hole.
People hole, son. It's funny. I just saw something like that, and that's, you say that, and people are gonna already come for you.
Yeah,
you
but
know
like,
I mean?
fucking show me how I'm wrong. That's my thing. And like, and what and it's funny because you've dealt with this with your own podcast. It's like, hey, and as I say all the time, this is just my fucking opinion. It doesn't mean it's like, but the way I see the world, like that's what I'm seeing. My generation of guys, the men, when I grew up, and it's I'm a little bit behind you, but like people were going off to fight wars. People were like doing. My best friend is a Tyler. He's a fucking he builds shit. Like I don't know many people that are like, oh, I want to go do like hard grit stuff. And it's funny, like my podcast is called Ghosts and Grit because it's kind of like the two buckets that I spend a lot of my time either like doing paranormal ghost stuff or like hard stuff. And I think that there is a lot to be said about doing hard things.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's only going to get less.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things are going to be automated, and we keep. I'm trying to walk this line here, but we keep pushing the goalpost back. That's what I talk about in my comedy. Of like, we used to have like, well, here's the line of things, but the lines keep moving.
Yeah. And
so it's like, at what point was there a line?
Well, I think,
and that's what they're doing. They're erasing, and
we're tapping into an ideology that has no boundaries to it. It's not like, hey, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's this is the common ideology for society now is it's limitless. It can be whatever it wants to be. It can do, but that's scary. You give kids complete autonomy to do whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want. It gets real bad.
Yeah.
And we're the kids, we're running around here and like being told do whatever, and it's like,
yeah,
it's scary.
But the idea of, like, you're right, like, no one wants a war. No one wants that. But you have to have people that build societies and sustain societies.
Yep.
And since, some of those things might be considered like, how dare you say that this is the role of so-and-so, which is wild.
And what people have completely forgotten, the story of America, the American dream, this experiment, how this ends is in war. That's what people are completely forgetting.
Why?
Because history has said so. History just repeats itself. It's rinse and repeat. Humans are always the same. It doesn't matter what fucking decade, what generation. Yeah, we might have invented some things to make life easier. But the great American empire, just like the British Empire and the Ottoman Empire and the fucking Roman Empire and the Greeks, and everyone ends in some form of war. It just does.
Do you think one's coming?
Whether it's now or whether it's in 100 years, yes. There will be
100 years. It's not going to be a war. It's not going to be like a war. It'll be like a button.
Okay, so you think that, right? But look at fucking Ukraine. That's some throwdown World War I type shit. They're in trenches, like stabbing each other and shooting each other in the face, close range.
Yeah, You're right. But it's a smaller country. I would think Russia would be more advanced, but I guess the next advancement is
nuke.
Yeah,
they just sat back and like, well, why are we gonna invent really smart weapons and we can just drop a nuke?
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, I don't know. I hope not, but you're right. Like, I think that the most things that are happening, I just think society is going to just be so twisted.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like within 5 years, a lot of the shit that's what I think is happening right now. This is why I think, and a war, I would not want that to be one of them. So hopefully that isn't far off. But like, that's why they want to ban TikTok, right? I think they want to ban TikTok, and I'm not saying it's not an asset for another country that gets our information. Probably, definitely 100% is. But I also think it's because we communicate.
Yeah.
I love TikTok. Am I addicted? Probably. Probably it's not good. But I learn a lot of stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I find real estate stuff. I find great restaurants. I educate myself on certain conspiracies that I don't believe are conspiracies. And I do believe it's a peer-to-peer sharing thing. And they don't want that.
Yeah.
And so with that happening, I feel like every institution is being disrupted and completely leveled. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's just weird times. Like I was explaining a long time ago, not too long ago, in September, when there was like the September 11th kind of memorial thing going on, and I was asking my daughter, who was 10 at the time, and I'm like, what do they teach you at school about September 11th?
Mm-hmm.
She goes, well, they haven't really kind of gone into it that much. And I'm like, oh, what, they don't say shit? They're like, yeah. She's like, we haven't. I know some things happen, and planes hit the World Trade Center, and a war started. And I told her, I was like, when I woke up on September the 10th, and then when I woke up on September the 12th, the world became a totally different fucking place.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like that's what the pandemic did. Like, I think it's that again. Like, we will never go back to being the way it was pre-pandemic. Things will have completely changed. The way that people think, the way that we, it became really apparent there are people that will do what the government says, and there are people that won't do what the government says. And it's like it was a full-on, on every level, like a spiritual, a physical, a mental, everything. It just shifted.
So somebody just said this to me the other day, and that they said that they said those exact same two things. We had like serious, like generational, life-changing events. How our generation, I'm Gen X, you're probably millennial.
I'm millennial, yeah.
And but you're not. But you are, but you're not. They said how many have had this? And I thought, well, the 60s had a lot. But I do feel like we had like planet-altering events. Like, even though 9/11 happened in our country, it altered the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a riveting, insane event. And the pandemic was planet-wide.
Yeah.
And I do feel that. I feel different from the pandemic. There are things I've never used to do that I'm doing now. And it's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I am like way more like, have your ducks in a row. It's not going to be like, oh, let's go and see this. I was driving today and I was like past Paramount, and I'm like, I haven't went and like had a reading or a meeting on a project there in a while. And I'm like, well, who cares? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a part of your pilot? Like, oh, that's exciting. Like, do people even care about traditional entertainment anymore? And I'm like, I'm thinking about like how to like stock up my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but a lot of people probably aren't thinking like that.
Yeah.
They're hitting the White Claw and just.
You and I have had like really deep conversations over the last couple of years. Like, were you always kind of like this, or is this something that you've kind of, over your career and over the last 20, 30 years kind of gotten into, or are you always someone that questioned authority and kind of would try to think for yourself?
I think it's a combination of things. I'll try to make it brief. I was the youngest of 6 kids.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
My mom had me when she was like 42 or 43, and that might explain some of the Asperger's. I used to do another joke, but you can't say it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but my mom had me, so the chute was open. Like,
Mhm.
like, not to get, God rest her soul, but there was a couple that didn't make it before me. So it was like 5 kids, a couple of
Oh, wow.
misfires, which is normal.
Yeah.
And then me. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And so I came out, and I had 2 different parents. My parents struggled with this whole family, and then they had this late kid.
Yeah.
And I had Atari and, video games and watched E.T. and BMX bikes. So I'm a product of the 80s. I love the 80s. I grew up with that. And so I once, when I was a young child, though, like, I grew up watching Chips and Three's Company. And I came to California in 1978. My dad's best friend was here, and I just went to Huntington Beach and Laguna Niguel and Sunset. And I was like, my mom was like, "You really want to live here, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I don't want to go back to Philly. Please drop me off." And she's like, "Oh, no, you have to go to school." And so I would go back to school, which was a Catholic school with nuns and priests, and it was like an iron prison and wood and old. Put it this way,
Chalkboards.
these are much more inviting than, like, and I'm a Catholic. I'm not practicing enough, but like just bloody crucifixes, and I'd rather be at the beach,
Yeah.
So
Especially in the 80s.
yes, and at that time, and then when I was like 11, I got a heart problem. Then they told me my heart had an issue, and I've had a messed up heart since I was 11. And so ever since then I was in the hospital when I was 13, and there was a guy we visited, a kid. There was a unit, and I have a pacemaker.
Oh, wow.
And I've had it since I was about 13. But it's part of me.
Yeah.
And I do everything. The only thing I can't do is like really box.
And walk through X-ray machines.
No, that's a myth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything's a myth. I can sit in the microwave, I'm fine. And I could probably box as long as you just don't hit it. But like, I play basketball. I'm overly athletic to overcompensate. And so once I got that, I was on the ward of kids. And so there was a kid who had 2 pacemakers. There was another kid that open heart surgery. There was another kid who was 10. And we used to see him every day, and he was pretty messed up. And he had open heart surgery at 10. And then one day, me and like all like the 3 of us in the ward, it was like a group of us, we went to see him, and his bed was completely empty.
Oh, wow.
And it was, all his stuff was off the walls.
So he didn't make it.
And we said, "Where's like Nick?" And they said, "Nick is gone." And we thought, did he leave? And they're like, "No, he passed away." And at that age, at 13 years old, that just hit me like, and I don't believe I ever had anything life-threatening, but it had something that, if it's not taken care of,
Yeah, of course.
you're not going to have the best life. So I'm lucky. But at that point in my time, in my life, I think my innocence died. And I'm still an innocent guy. That's why people like me, because I look out and I see what can be, but I'm also aware what is.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point in my life, everything changed. So school was unimportant. Religion to me wasn't important. Any authority was stupid. I think because that's not what I was promised. I was promised a BMX bike, an Atari, a girlfriend at the milkshake shop. I wasn't promised, a heart problem. I wasn't promised seeing another kid die. And I think that my father was a huge, huge alien enthusiast. So yeah, at that point, I just started questioning everything.
Yeah. Obviously, your background is in both comedy and acting. Did you start doing comedy before the acting, or what came first?
Well, like I had that happen to me, and then like ever since then, I was like 13. I just started I knew I was never gonna go to college. I'm like, college is just stupid. I started knowing I was gonna do something at around 15. I had no idea, and long story boring. I graduated high school. I was working at Domino's. I love Domino's.
Great pizza. It was different though. It tasted different back in the day.
Yes, but I was 18 years old, and at one night, I made $97 in tips. That's a lot now.
Yeah.
And I was 18. I was in the 80s, and I thought, damn, I'm my own boss. Like, all I have to do is charm these people. I had the late shifts, and at the end of the night, I had this cute little manager. She would give me pizzas, and we'd drink a 6-pack. It was awesome. And so I was like, I'm never going to get a regular job. I'll probably move up here and be, but I'm like, I want to see what acting is. I know it was crazy. It's very, I know I read stuff about your father and becoming a singer, let alone a rock star, was like the equivalent of going to Mars from where he's from. I'm pretty sure I read that. And that's the equivalent of where I was.
Dude, you've been in some of the biggest movies ever.
But I didn't even know what acting was. I didn't even know how to go to a local theater. So, long story boring, as I signed up for a local acting class, I started learning what it was. And my teacher was like this little angel. Like, you don't get many prophets in this world, but I got one. And she was like, you have to go to California. And I was like, why? And she's like, because you're different. And I was like, but I don't know anything. And she goes, just go. And I'm like, but I don't know what to do or where to be. And she goes, go.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, literally. Like, just all she kept saying was, get a plane ticket and go. You will figure it out. And it was like this beautiful angel. And at that time, my friend's mom was a local actress who I'd ask questions. She did local commercials in theater, downtown Philly, and she got to be a featured extra and said, I think I can get you a job as background. And I'm like, background? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, atmosphere, darling. And like, she was English accent, but she was from Philly. You know what I'm saying? It's like Madonna, early Madonna. And I'm like, you mean like in a movie? She's like, I'm like, background. And she's like, as an extra, okay? And I was like, oh, extras, But it was still like so sexy. Long story boring, I went down. They asked me if I had these clothes while I cut my hair, blah, blah, blah. And they hired me for 3 days. And the movie was Dead Poets Society.
Wow.
Yeah. That was shot in Delaware, and I was in the boys' home, all the boy classroom stuff.
Wow.
And I know, dude. I was working at Domino's on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, I was seeing Robin Williams at the craft service table.
Did you now?
It was insane.
The cast of Dead Poet Society,
unbelievable,
insanely
incredible actors.
Have you run into many of them over the years? And is that kind of weird when you run into them, being like, hey, like I got my start there?
I was so nothing. I was green.
Yeah.
These guys were theater trained. Robert Sean Leonard was I think he was a Juilliard actor, a real legit like walker of the boards, I say. You know what I'm saying? Like a West End. I think Ethan was a child actor, but always did credible work.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a theater kid. A couple of the other kids were Philly guys. And who is the guy that was in the movie Threesome? With Stephen Baldwin, Charlton Finn, and another guy. Josh Charles.
Yeah.
Josh had a huge part in Dead Poets Society.
Is he the one who kills himself?
No. Ethan does.
Oh, Ethan does, yeah.
And I didn't really talk to anybody, and I was so freaked out, and they didn't encourage us to talk. But he was really friendly to the extras, but like 10 years later, I saw him at an event. He was on a big CBS show, and he's like, oh, yeah, man. I remember. Like, he was really cool to me. So I saw him.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see anyone else. But, like, just doing that was a divine intervention. Literally, when I walked on the set, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I saved up enough money. I told Domino's, can they transfer me? They said they'll put in a word. I flew out to L.A. I got an apartment. My mom and dad co-signed, and they gave me 6 months. I got a roommate, and I just started walking Lancashire and going, what am I doing? And literally, that's what I did. And I just trial by error, dude.
It's pretty cool though, because it's like that story is like the quintessential like that, like you did what so many people before you had done, where moved to LA with nothing and had this just lightning in a teacup, and you had this amazing career.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. To say what you're saying, what came first, acting or comedy? I would say acting, but it wasn't acting. I just wanted to. I'm at the point in my life where I'm trying to be really honest about who I am, and I wanted to get into Hollywood because I wanted attention. I'm not scared to say that. I just happen to be kind of good at stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not a bad actor. I'm not a bad comedian. And I found these. Like I would do a voice and people were like, that's pretty good. And they would encourage me. So then I started doing improv, and then I would come up with a joke and they go, you should try stand up. And, I wanted to act, but I didn't even know how to do it. So I signed up for extras agencies, and I came to the Mecca, what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea, but I knew that this was the place to come. And I had read a lot about it though. I did read Gene Hackman, the legends. She struggled for years. Jon Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, Jim Carrey. They all seem to have a 15-year struggle. And so I kind of looked at myself and I said, if I can't really get a good movie in 15 years, I'll figure out how to get an insurance job.
Yeah.
But that's an insane amount of time. People are so unrealistic. They're like, let me do 4 months, and if I'm not discovered, those people should just all be run. They should run out of the town. But I really was like, I have nothing.
What have you got to lose?
Yeah, and I was already I tried to quit multiple, at least 3 times. I lived in Koreatown. I was staying in a side room in my buddy's studio. He had a side room. It's all in my book. And I stayed in this tiny room. I had a terrible telemarketer job. I made no money unless I sold. And I was like, what was I going to go to? I was already practically on government assistance.
Well, this is the grit part of the podcast. It's like you had grit. You wanted to you had your goal, you had your dream, and you were willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah, I always tell people, to be a successful comedian, you have to have a healthy amount of narcissism and a healthy amount of delusion. So I was narcissistic enough to think, well, I'm going to stand on this stage and you 12 people in this coffee shop. Remember coffee shop before Starbucks?
Yeah.
And you poet, and you want to be Indigo Girl, and you painter are going to listen to me because I'm that important. And I'm delusional enough that when someone laughed, just one laugh out of 8 minutes, I'd bomb. I'm like, it's enough to try it again. So that's all I did.
Yeah.
And for years, I lived what they call from set to set. Whereas you bomb, you're done until you do your next set. Why am I doing this? I got nothing. I'm a loser. And then you get a laugh. You're like, maybe I'm right. And it's a trial and error. It's a strikeout and a hit. It's a shooting off the rim and swishing it. And
how do you come up with your material? What's your process? Do you actually sit with a pen and paper, or?
Never been that guy. I always tell people a good comedian is an egg. A healthy amount of shell and a healthy amount of yolk. And the yolk is the performer, meaning yolk runs everywhere. I'm a performer. I improv. I act out. I'm a little wild. A lot of writers and bookish and tortoiseshell glasses are more the writers in the shells, and they're like, keep it together, keep it together. I'm up here. Here's my set, and it's going to be very entertaining. I'm more of the yolk than the writer, but I'm not a bad writer. But I've never been bookish. I've never been okay. I've never been da 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 da. A good joke is ba 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 ba, and then how far is the ravine is how good the punchline is. You know what I'm saying? Like, the farther it is the harder it is, and the better it will be, the more of a surprise. Or open the door, they say in writing. What's behind it? The most surprising thing is the best joke, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about, I kind of rant, and then I'll hear laughs, and then I'll stitch that together, and I'll be like, let me try this. And then when I get enough of it, I'll sit down, and I'll tell people, and they'll transcribe it for me, and I'll go blah 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 blah, and then that's kind of, I write on stage, and sometimes though, some of my best jokes though, people comedians are beautiful souls, and they'll say, try this, and I've had some of my best jokes by just a walking by comedian that punches me up.
That's great.
I know, it's amazing.
That's really cool.
So, but I mean, it's usually like a rant. I think the other night I started going off, and the audience wasn't getting where I was, and I started getting madder and madder, and then they really started laughing, and I thought, what's a comedian? They always say a comic, it says funny things. A comedian says things funny, and I felt at that moment I was saying something funny.
Interesting. All right, we should talk about our night of terror. I brought you on a ghost hunt.
Do you want to talk about conspiracies? Is that what you want to talk about?
Well, we can talk about it all.
Go for
but
it.
night of terror. Did you? Now we'd gone and we went to Skinwalker Ranch. The area of Skinwalker. We saw some stuff. We had some weird experiences. We caught some stuff on camera. How did you feel about kind of going on a ghost hunt versus looking for aliens and skinwalkers?
I hated the drive, but I loved the nature. We were fresh out. It was a week.
Yep.
We were in this crazy ass plateau of just Mars. And I loved Skinwalker because you hear so much about it. I love that everything was there. The way you described it to this day is, I tell people it's like a top 10 explanation of my life of how something was so perfectly explained, how it's a deck hook for the paranormal, and anything from aliens to vampires. Like, it's all on the table there. It's like the fucking LAX nightclub of paranormal. You know what I'm saying? Remember who would go?
Oh yeah.
And so I'm
Who's
like,
at the door?
Yeah. So that to me was awesome. I do believe we saw some weird shit. And plus, my father and of his soul would be happy that we were doing that. I love ghosts. I've done a lot of paranormal movies. I like that too. But I definitely think there was something there. I'm going to be 100% transparent. Once I saw like ghost pencil sharpeners for 99 cents, it turned me off. You know what I mean? And
dude, it's funny you say that because it's something that never really gets brought up, and it's probably a good time to talk about it. Like, ghost tourism is a thing, and a lot of places that I will go and investigate, they run a business of doing ghost hunts, and so it does get kind of kitschy.
I go to New Orleans, bro. I love New Orleans. Have you ever taken the vampire tour?
I've never done the vampire tour, but I investigated the LaLaurie mansion in New Orleans.
What is that?
That's that mansion where the woman was killing slaves and like doing nasty experiments on them allegedly, and like this whole thing back in the day, and she escaped back to Paris when like a mob discovered what she'd been doing, and because she was like she was basically like America's first female serial killer.
Wow. So I don't know about that. Now when you walk in New Orleans, if you were to say, Jamie, we're going to go to New Orleans for a week, the minute I step on Bourbon Street and anywhere in the corridor, the energy is just different.
It's a weird spot, man.
Yeah, I love it, but it's also fucking funky.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a voodoo mix, and there's a murder mix, and there's a whole underground. There's many subcultures that you'd have to look for. Like, vampirism is real as fuck.
Oh yeah, no, I actually I had a New Orleans vampire, a guy who like is the real deal, drinks blood, like does voodoo, and like we had him. Yeah, he helped out on one of our shows once.
Yeah, and remind me to tell you something about a director. But when I went there, I've shot there multiple times. And it's sad. I was there since the pandemic, and it's not open as late.
Really?
Cafe Du Monde closes, which makes me
What?
cry. Yes, it doesn't stay open 24 hours, which makes me cry.
That's fucking crazy.
It's insane, bro. Even fucking people, like the streets are empty at night. Now, I wasn't there during any big event.
Yeah.
But you could go to New Orleans on a Tuesday and find a watering hole at 4 a.m.
Do you remember when, because the COVID shutdown was was it March?
March 2020.
Okay, so isn't that right around Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Remember when they were like, no, we're not closing, and then they were like, there's a huge outbreak of COVID in New
Mardi Gras.
Orleans. Yeah. I'm like, well,
funny.
yeah.
But the vampire tour is a real tour there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking incredible. And there's a lot of different tours, but this tour gives you detailed history. It's very believable. They say that some of them are still there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. And they talk about all the people that go missing in that city, and they're being drained of blood.
Yeah.
And there's a whole underground of vampirism. And the lore of it, like you said, you met this guy and he's there. And I met a director, a very big director, who told me in the late 90s that if you wanted the serum to live longer, you go to Switzerland. Because they take stem cells and different things and put it in a serum and inject you. And he said, that's why 80-year-olds in Switzerland look 55. And then he looked at me, dead in the eyes, and he goes, vampirism. And he's like, that shit's real. And he just drew this connection for me. And I was like, and it's so, I really started getting into vampires. So I believe in all this shit. I actually think vampires are real, and I believe it's a youth thing.
Yeah, I think it's probably like a eternal. I mean, they're saying now that they can halt the aging process, or that we're only a handful of years away from being able to completely shut down aging. Because at its core,
how long?
Well, aging.
I'm seeing that, but years.
They say that we're a handful of years away. Like within 10 years, we're going to be able to do it. I heard something that's saying 5 years.
Because it was originally the leap was when I was going to be 70.
No,
so if that's
I mean, going back to AI, think about this. Did you hear about how the AI mapped the proteins for antibiotics? Do you hear about this? Oh, dude, this is fucking crazy.
No.
This is some... Okay, so it takes about a year to figure out antibiotics for certain viruses and, like, infections, and they're always having to change antibiotics and what makes them up. So 1 year for one antibiotic. The fucking AI did 200 in 2 weeks or some shit like that. Yeah.
What prompts?
I don't know what AI they were using, but yeah, they fucking there is some amazing shit medically for AI, which I think is gonna speed up the research time.
But once it goes, it goes.
I know.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. Anybody who ever hits their toaster, kicks their fridge, or pushes their blender, good luck.
Yeah.
Because they will band together and rise up.
And then we need John Connor.
Dude,
how crazy is it going to be when Eddie Furlong actually does fucking save the world?
Like, we don't. He's in Glendale.
Yeah, I
got to text him. Bro, here's what's crazy about the life thing. And you're talking about, I think I just want to see the alien disclosure more than ever. Like,
NASA, did you see that disclosure today?
No.
NASA,
the Stanford guy was like, hey, dude, it's real.
Yep.
And, of course, it didn't go fucking viral.
No, of course not. Why listen to that guy when, you got a
Stanford.
When you got a Kardashian showing their butthole, like,
which is definitely there to distract,
fully,
in my opinion.
Fully.
Deep state asset. Go ahead.
NASA turned out, this is big announcement. NASA's going to talk about extraterrestrial fucking UAP shit. The announcement was, we don't have enough resources to adequately research this correctly to give you an accurate answer. That's basically what they said.
What?
But they didn't, which I dug because, once again, it's staggered disclosure. They basically saying, oh, this isn't bullshit. There's something here. We just don't have enough resources to properly research it.
That's a brilliant term. Staggered disclosure.
Yeah.
You're saying that's on purpose.
Yes, 100%. Because the next conference, they're going to go, we got a couple, we got 10s, 30, $50 million from the government. We researched it. It's something. We don't know if it's from Earth. We don't know where it's coming from, but it's something. And then, it's so every 6 years, they're going to, however they decide to stagger it. But there is also that theory that the New World Order is going to fake an alien invasion.
BlueBeam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the holograms in China on
Yes.
billboards?
Yes.
They're fucking insane.
They are.
No, they come out.
I know. It's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
No, it's fuck Back to the Future. Remember when he's on the skateboard and the hologram shot gets him?
So well, there's so much there, but we need people like Jeremy and you to kind of, it needs to take a tidal wave to just get it here. I guess they don't want the, lunatics leaving the asylum, right? They don't want us to go, everything's a lie.
Yeah.
Which we already know.
100%. I mean, what's going to happen to every religious institution when all of a sudden they're like, no, we're not alone in the universe, and these fuckers are actually godlike status.
And they're criminal organizations.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What, religious organizations or the aliens?
No. The fucking Catholic Church is a criminal organization.
At this stage of the game, yeah. Oh, I saw an amazing thing about how the Catholic Church is actually the continuation of it legitimately is the continuation of the Roman Empire. Dude,
that's fascinating. But they just, another 2,100 fucking diddlers came out.
Yeah.
But
Jamie,
and they just keep.
They ask for forgiveness. So
exactly. No, this is not an accident. This is like, let's actually, they're using it. It's really obvious that they're using that as a shield to be nefarious.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I'm
fully.
Come for me. Let's go.
I think, dude, we've had discussions about this, but I think
I was an altar boy.
And
I wasn't even touched.
Damn, dude.
What made me feel like I wasn't cute. So I joined the Boy Scouts, and they know how to party.
Dude, nothing better than partying out in the wilderness.
Deep. Merit badge, baby.
Oh, there you go.
You like wood badges. That's why you're so handy with the goddamn knife.
I am.
You're a whittler.
Dude, I got one. No, where is it? What did I do?
He whittles.
There it is. There's my knife. But yeah, I think that I do think that in our lifetime, in the next.
Well, you said like three things. Your lifetime, dude. We got to do it now. Number one. Number two is what are we gonna do? Let's just stay with aging for a second. What are you gonna do if you can extend your life by 200 years?
I don't.
And I don't want to live in a computer.
I don't want to live in a computer. I don't want to fucking upload my consciousness and do that shit. That's just
But
wild.
I'd like to be able to dunk a basketball when I'm 108.
If I could right now, if someone said to you, like, hey, you'll never physically feel a day over 37 ever again.
Incredible.
I'd be like, fucking sign me up.
I like 32.
32.
Incredible.
32 is good.
Yeah.
Stay
your age right now. You're 37.
Yeah, just halt it. Like, boom. You'll still obviously age, but you're not gonna be 70 and having a hip replacement. I'd be into that. But do you know what causes aging?
Yeah, telomeres.
Oxidization. The exposure to oxygen is essentially breaking down your cells. Therefore, it causes aging. So once they can figure out how to stop the oxidization of cells, that's when they're going to be able to halt aging.
Wait, that's even more than I thought. So the telomeres are in your cell.
Yes, and oxygen is what breaks them down.
And so they're like this. The candle's burning,
mm-hmm.
and up until 25, it regenerates. And then after 25, the candle gets smaller, smaller, and that's older, wrinkly skin, bad, all that.
You want to know my favorite fucking conspiracy theory is right now?
Which is not a conspiracy, but go ahead.
It's not. I don't know if we've discussed this. Have you ever seen fucking...
I just got a joke out of that because I want to say how people are prejudiced. They're theorists.
They're theorists. They fully are, dude.
That's a form of racist.
100%.
Yes.
People,
go ahead.
My favorite one is the Justin Trudeau is Castro's son.
Brilliant one.
How amazing is that,
It looks
dude?
good.
It's fucking...
It looks good.
Did you ever... And I don't know if this is true.
It looks good.
But I heard that someone tried to get some of his DNA and they fucking arrested him. He was at a banquet and he was drinking from a cup or something, and he tried to take it and he was gonna get it tested, and they fucking arrested him.
Wait, do you want to go deeper? Gotta be careful here.
No, dude, let's go down. Let's go.
Is
Ghost and
this-
Grit, bro.
Do you know this one? And it's getting. Let me just say this. It's getting pretty obvious, but I want to tip my toe in. I know where you'll be at, but I want to say it in a way that the audience will understand it, because you can't hit them right away with a sucker punch. You got to give them a little rib tickle.
Yeah.
So, the big one that's going on right now.
Is it Biden?
Well, that's another one about him.
That is his. He has a twin.
Yeah, and there's the mask and all that.
Yeah.
But if you just look at pictures of the 80s and 90s and now, there's a facelift and then there's a straight up clone.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude is grown in a lab. Okay. Is that all these stadium shows right now
Mm-hmm.
are satanic rituals? And because this is interesting, because you'd have to speak on this.
Yeah.
And that Taylor Swift is the daughter of Anton LaVey. But not it's the mother.
Okay.
Do you know the mother?
I don't know the mother. I don't know Anton.
Look up LaVey.
Okay.
And Anton LaVey was basically the head of the
Church of Saint.
but his
which
his chick is pretty much a carbon copy of Taylor. Taylor Swift is like the more beautiful version of this chick.
Wow.
And but the ritual thing is pretty fascinating. And you could say, they do a conjuring ceremony, and literally there's the deepest conspiracy is that the energy, if you believe in energy, which I do now, the people are helping fulfill it.
I think there is something inherently spiritual about concerts.
Yes.
I think when you've got thousands upon thousands of people pouring their energy to one person, I think it is a spiritual experience.
Yes.
Like I in my time seen concerts when I've been moved emotions, and and I think that's why
you're the birth of a concert.
Basically.
Yes.
Like I grew up in it. I've seen it from every.
You were the offspring of a concert.
Yeah, I was birthed probably, then shortly thereafter delivered to a concert
in Wembley or something. So
I was a Valentine's Day baby, so it was.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So do you believe there's some truth to it?
I think.
Let's just really call it out.
I don't think Taylor Swift is a Satanist.
I don't think she's a Satanist.
I don't think she's the daughter of Anton LaVey.
You don't?
I don't.
That's the conspiracy.
I guess I would have to dive deeper into it. And
do you think there's witch energy?
I think that there is energy which could be construed as a cult, because you're essentially praising a false idol. So, which goes into Christianity. If you start leading into kind of, Judeo-Christian values, it's like, okay, well, your people are losing their mind over these musicians, and they're like, oh my God, you are my savior.
It's God-like status.
It is.
But I'm talking about a ceremony. Okay, what about Super Bowl halftime shows?
Super Bowl halftime show, I thought was, you know what I think it is? I just think they're fucking boring. And,
the argument is that they're also rituals.
See, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh my God!
I don't.
I'm giving you a chance to.
I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Final answer.
I just don't see it. I don't see. Now I see
The
it.
Weeknd put Satan
I see a lot of people.
He put Satan.
But I think they're doing that on purpose.
Well, he put it.
Dude, I went on fucking, 3, maybe 4 tours with Marilyn Manson opening for my dad.
Yeah.
And that dude, think about how everyone went crazy over Manson in the late 90s, early 2000s. That guy was the devil. He's
theater, though.
But so is so much of this shit. What's
I
his name?
actually think people into Satan are people that look like businesmen.
The real ones.
Yeah,
the fucking Rothschilds and the fucking.
I didn't say it. you won't say the Super Bowl, but you just said that.
Well, because that shit's more believable to me. I just think.
Well, why is why? Hold on a second.
And I don't.
Let's just be real. Why did Sam Smith go from a little Lord Fauntleroy to what he is now?
Because he's literally he is the modern day version of what my dad was in the 80s, what Manson was in the 90s, and here he is now in the fucking.
Your dad never started like that.
No, but
Marilyn never started like that.
No.
Your dad never wore a sweater vest.
Because I think he's realizing from a pure marketing standpoint, there's a gap in the fucking
Satan.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
But not as overt as him. He's like fucking painting it on his. Well, I can't say he. They are fucking painting it on his chest, and they are painting it on their chest. I can't even get it right.
This was a guy. Okay, this was a person, because I know they're non-binary, or it's that.
Yeah.
So listen, but you have to understand something. And I hate we're talking this, but we'll do it. He started as a guy making. And by the way, that last song he had is a banger. I bop to it. He's
the Kim Petra song.
Whatever song it was, the hit.
Yeah.
But that's almost like a mantra,
mm-hmm.
right? Like it's hypnotic.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just go here, dude. The guy started out making beautiful ballads.
Yeah.
Beautiful, amazing music. He's still making amazing music.
Yeah.
But he's delivering it.
He's just powered by Satan now.
Well, it's something. Come on, it's something. There's difference between your dad, where you could read articles and it's like someone threw the bat up and he did it. He was out of his mind.
Yeah.
But
the origin story wasn't Sam Smith. It wasn't
it wasn't like
sweater vest.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, I hate to say it, but you look at some of the big music stars, how they started and what they are now. There's a lot of smoke on the internet about this.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're not seeing it,
you
better figure this out, because your comment sections are going to come.
I am seeing it. It's very, but I just look at it and I'm like, you're a fucking wannabe.
I want to be what?
They want it. They're doing it for show. They're doing it to be controversial.
Dude, how do you explain the Travis Scott concert?
What with the fucking where people got trampled to death?
It was eerie, bro.
Yeah, that thing that got brushed under the rug real fucking quick.
But look at the setup of him.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the setup of some Super Bowls. There's red. There's red.
Mm-hmm.
There's red. There's
Listen, I'm
symbolism.
I'm willing to put the tinfoil hat on and say that
I did an Activision commercial with your father.
Uh-huh.
I know.
You did?
Yes, I told you this. It's amazing. I know the theatrics.
Yeah.
The brilliance of your father and the brilliance of your mother. Okay. There's a difference, but we would joke and eat lunch.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is different.
You think the real deal is going on out there?
I don't want to say it. I don't know how you got me to say it, but I definitely think there's a lot of smoke to it, and people are talking about it. And for you to just go, meh, it's just a red cape. No. It's like, dude, there's fucking shit.
I do think. But
what the fuck is this? Why is this always there? Why?
Because people know
Explain
it now.
That to me.
They know it now. That
oh, come on!
The loudest guy in the room is the weakest guy in the room.
Is that me?
No, but I'm just saying that's what this is. When you see fucking, the all the fucking musicians doing this, or there is that weird clip of
Bro.
John. Did you see the John Legend one where the girl next to him and she's doing the Baphomet?
Yes,
That's fucking weird.
Oh no shit.
That I'm like,
oh no shit.
Why would she do that?
Jump in. The water's warm.
Yeah, like why do that shit?
Because.
So you think that girl's a Satanist?
No,
Who was
no.
it
I
that did it?
actually think that the Satanists are actually people. All need to watch Rosemary's Baby again, and
I will
because it's a brilliant movie on really what it is. It's the person going, "Hi, Bob, how are you?" They're the people that you actually have to look out for. And that's what that whole movie is about.
I will say if we are going down a satanic spiritualism fucking portal opening hole, I know I'm gonna have to really fucking choose these words wisely, because there's spilling tea and then there's kicking over the fucking bucket of tea.
I know I didn't want to say this. Edit this out.
No, I'm into this. This is fucking rad.
But you have to stand up for what's good in this world.
I know for sure, unequivocally, that it's fact. Numerous witnesses to this. One of the biggest pop stars in the world right now, huge, fucking huge, had an incestual relationship with her biological family member, and you can find nothing about this family member anywhere. And if you're leaning into the fucking weird fucking people pulling the strings, calling the shots, whatever, like, to me, the level of success of this individual, knowing what I know, that's like some selling your soul type shit.
So this person had sex with a family member.
Had an ongoing sexual relationship with a blood family member. And they are...
For what reason?
I don't know, but they are one of the biggest musicians in the world.
And that's satanic?
It's pretty fucking... Well, here's the thing.
Were they forced to do it?
I don't know the parameters of it. All I know is that...
How do you... Well, I figured you would know.
I know it from people that went way back with these individuals. Yeah, it's fucking insane. And how this hasn't got out, because here's the thing. If I know, fucking 100 people know.
Well, you just kind of put it out there.
Well, but I'm not telling you I'm not saying
but
who it
your
is.
people are going to sleuth like a motherfucker.
There's how many fuck? There's hundreds of huge.
I've never heard this. No.
Dude, it's fucking...
Okay, but let's go. Okay, that's insane.
And so for me, if the victim of abuse, and we live in a victim culture, why wouldn't that person go, "Hey, listen, this was my story"?
I don't understand. What was it consensual, non-consensual?
I was led to believe that it was.
Was it ritualistic?
That I was led to believe that it was consensual. That's how it was portrayed to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. But are you saying that is like some type of thing to get success?
I'm
are
wondering.
You saying that's if a ritual to if you do this, you get this?
I'm wondering if that, like, now if I'm playing in the world of conspiracy theory, which I don't love to go down the hole of.
But you are a conspiracy theorist.
No. There's different doors down the conspiracy theory hallway.
Yeah.
I don't like the paranoia, fucking satanic. Because it's too. If
Why?
Because I don't know. I just it all, because you know what it is actually. If I'm getting honest with myself, growing up in the household I grew up in with my dad and people being like, "Your dad's a Satanist, your dad's a Satanist, your dad's a Satanist." My whole fucking life, seeing protests in front of his, whatever, being called into court. I've always been like, "You're a fucking Satanist. It's theatrics." So I've always just chalked it up to theatrics.
And I don't know your father. I've met him, like I said, a few times. And I 100% get the vibe. And it's all theatrics. I know you.
Yes.
Okay. And you've been nothing but the kindest soul to me.
It's because I'm trying to steal your soul.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is that there is theater, right? And then there's summoning.
Yes.
So, like...
the more I lean into the ghost hunting and the paranormal and the
like,
understanding
your
of
dad is not Kiss. He's to me a fucking more hardcore version of Kiss. Kiss is all theatrics.
Yeah.
Your dad is theatrics, but people believed it more.
Yeah,
they knew Kiss was dressing up.
Look at it like this. My dad was like, Kiss is WWE.
Yes.
My dad was UFC.
Yeah, 100%. Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real consequence. Entertaining as fuck,
Yeah.
but real consequences.
Yeah.
Kiss thinks they're UFC, and I still love Kiss, but they're more WWE.
Yeah.
And the WWE's real.
And then to go a step further away from like the real deal fucking Satanists, those guys are like the Delta Force operators cutting off heads in, the Middle East. Like, so there are people that do some shit, and the more I've
took that into a weird ass.
But I'm just using the analogy of like theatrics of violence. It's like,
well, hold on, let's just go back. That's Delta Force is like a fighting arm. I'm talking about. Let's just stay on pop stars.
Okay.
To say that, look, to say that I understand that you might be triggered by it because you grew up where people were protesting. Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman. When I was 11 years old, I watched it on cable TV, which is very hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
I watched your dad performing somewhere at Blizzard of Oz. I want to say 1982.
Yeah.
And it was, I want to say, in some castle or so. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he raised me. Did I go out and fucking drink blood after? No, because I knew it was theatrical. But a lot of people don't. But there's a difference between that and your dad was always the funnest of energies.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is two things, because you just got my brain exploded. I know it. Okay, since you just said it, I know a chick. She was going to tell me a story one time about how people can get success through fucking some type of deals.
Summoning fucking
occult, whatever. And
yeah.
She said, I don't want to. And she somehow brought it up, and then she looked at me, and I'm pretty sure you know this chick, turned as white as a ghost, and said, I will never talk about that on a podcast. And she was completely shook. And she's like, don't even ask me about it. And she was, and I never asked her about it, and it's always been in my mind. And she 100% said there's something to it.
I guess I will. I'm willing to state that if people can give their life to Jesus and they become these like spiritual beings, and they're like, certain people who whatever religion, whether they're Jewish or it's Islam or whatever, people who are deeply religious and they pour their everything into it, they have a certain air about them, right? They have a certain spiritual kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Even the New Age stuff, it's Buddhism or fucking drinking juice and going to do yoga. And so, and there are benefits from that. There's like actual scientific proof that, if you pray and meditate, your brain does something. It unlock, activity happens.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't that happen for negative, dark, evil shit?
1,000%. Dude, our world is the world crazier than it's ever been, or are we just seeing it?
Now, the stuff that we're seeing, though, is that a play for Satanism, or is it a play to break down the American culture?
Forget Satanism, okay? Forget, people put it as this Beelzebub and all this stuff, okay? Think of it like this. Okay, again, were we shielded? Yes, before the internet. Does the internet exist? Do we see everything? Yes. But do I think we're in a spiritual warfare? I do. And I'm fucking me, dude. I'm a normal guy. I'm B-Rad. I don't think like this shit. Like, but that's how much it is real that it's affecting me. So do I think there's fights all online? And then that somebody sees that, and then it spawns another fight, and they put it online. There's ugliness. There's car accidents. Faces of Death in the 80s was a videotape that you could never get at the store, and if you got it, it was at the darkest part of your video store, and your brother or someone had to rent it because it was NC-17.
Yep.
And it was how people died. I wish our world was just that now.
Oh my God,
the
dude.
shit that is on Twitter and Instagram, and there's just there's like, dude, the amount of violence that I see is insane. That's bad energy, whatever you want to call it. That's a bad energy. The amount of degrading sex is out there. Not even showing it, just being talked about. The inferences of it. It's fucking so much of it that it turns me off. So there's these things of when you talk about vibrations that are just these darker, lower vibrations. And then you throw alcohol in it, which is known to actually lower your vibration. Like it makes you make lesser, not good decisions.
And fucking throw weed on top of that.
Yeah. And people say, oh, weed. No, weed. It's so we're not living to our highest standard. So I see this stuff and do I go, this is bizarre? Like, dude, I'm a product of the 80s again. Boobies and a butt. Woo. You know what I mean? There was mystery. Like, it's embarrassing how much sex is online now. Like, does any woman wear a fucking turtleneck anymore? Like, there's a difference between feeling beautiful and putting your whole self-worth if you get a fucking thirst trap like.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's like there's a lot more going on. I love your sexiness, but like there's overtness in the way some people are talking, and there's just a simple thing of this you see on Instagram. It's a comedy account. And he goes up to women and they're usually drunk, and he goes, and he's this good looking dude, and he's like, thumb in or thumb out. Do you even know what that is?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thumb in or thumb out. And she's like, thumb in. I don't care. Thumb. And they're like, and it's just like, this is just a basic, what we call lubrication.
Jamie, thumb in or thumb out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just, I don't like a chef surprise. So I'd like an announcement. So basically, you don't even have to know what it is. You know what it is when it's happening. So it's like, and these girls are like, I don't care as long as there's something in. Like, so that's a baby step through comedy of lubricating the society for Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I sound like a priest? Probably. No, I'm not. I've had a great time. You and I have talked about the great times we've had.
Yeah.
I love it. But I'm saying it's almost like there's no mystery anymore. It's like everything is like violent, no class, fuck you, fucking gag jobs. And it's like that all goes into the term of dark energy.
Yeah.
And dark energy is ruled by what? That's my opinion. But for you to sit there and not look at concerts and not see one thing.
I guess I'm just tuned
There's
to
red. Just the color red.
Yeah.
Just the color red. Do you see red in a lot of concerts?
Sure.
Okay. And this thing, you just think that is just a coincidence?
I think they're playing. Because here's the thing: when you got fucking Jay-Z doing this, Jay-Z's not fucking Illuminati. The Illuminati pay fucking Jay-Z.
No, that's The Rock.
That's The Rock?
He says it's The Rock.
The Rock.
For his company, Rock Nation. I don't know. Bottom line is this. That shit you said, the symbols and all that shit. I actually talked to a Satanist years ago. It's probably a lot. I told you this on my pod. This chick, I never knew what Baphomet was.
Mm-hmm.
She had him on her stomach. She was a sweet girl. She was trying to be a comedian. She told me about it. She's like, look, we just want to live free. But she said all these symbols, and she said this is this and this is that, and that's what it is. You know what that means, right?
Mm-mm.
You don't know what this means?
No.
As above.
Oh, as below.
So below.
Yeah.
And so have you heard of inversion? I'm going to get in trouble for doing that, but I'm just using an example.
Oh, we're going to use that.
Do you know
Jamie Kennedy, Satanist.
Do you know what inversion is?
No. I know what inversion is like in voting things, but
well, for instance, meat was terrible for you, right?
yeah.
Everything's supposed to be bad, right? So let me give you a simple example. Inversion is everything that's supposed to be one way is really the other way.
Okay.
And so inversion is the lightness of God and good vibes, let's just say, not get all holy roly on it. The inversion of that is negative and dark spirits, would be Satan, right? So if you go with that whole belief system,
Sure.
positive, negative, right? Yin, yang. So as above, so below has to do with the catacombs also of France. I said France because you say it like that.
France.
Where it's like above, there's this party, but their catacombs are like the exact opposite. There's a darkness there. There's documentaries about it. So what am I trying to say is that the girl was cool. I never seen her since. She was trying to be a saint. She was a Satanist, but she was like a person that was her like.
That was her vibe.
Yeah, but it wasn't like anything evil that I ever saw.
Yeah.
So now the girl taught me about Baphomet.
So
as above, so below. What is Baphomet?
This
is kindergarten
Yeah,
stuff.
but Baphomet isn't Baphomet a
Who's Black Phillip?
Black Phillip? He's the goat demon.
Black Phillip. Have you ever seen The Witch?
The Witch. I love it.
One of the greatest horror movies of all time.
Amazing.
And that's me saying that. Okay. Black Phillip is incarnation possibly of Lucifer. Okay.
But is Baphomet Lucifer? I thought Baphomet was like...
Baphomet possibly is one of his soldiers at
that's
the
what
table.
I thought.
And Baal, B-A-L-L, B-A-L, is another one of his soldiers. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But if it's a goat's head, breast, hooves, it is a multi-gendered, multi-species entity.
You know what? You're starting to make sense, Jamie.
Well, if you look at it, I could go to so if you look at why are all of these companies, it's really, I'm saying way too much. I don't know why you brought it out of me, but like Whitney Webb, who I think is an incredible person, she's like, you must stand against the forces of evil. It's like, she's right. And it's like, we have to get to talk about, okay, what about Budweiser, which I had no problem. I don't even know what happened. Okay. What about different companies? I didn't see any Satanist in Budweiser, but I did see a person who was becoming the face of it be a figure that to me was just wanted fame.
Yeah.
And this person, I don't know how they identify, wasn't really sure of what they were. So in essence, you could argue that is a multi-leveled entity of like female and male. What is it? Why are all these companies pushing an agenda? Now, like some of them have, why do you think that is?
Because I think that they're being driven by money, and they believe if they jump on that gravy train, that they're going to be on the right side of history, that this is going to be the best for their profit margin. I believe money.
Their profits are being decimated.
But that's what I believe. They thought money, we're going to be seen as this great, awesome thing.
Here's what I believe. First of all, I think it's called the ESG.
Yes.
There's one with your carbon footprint, and then there's one with something else.
And it's your corporate credit score, essentially.
Yes, it's basically the corporate credit score. It's like, how inclusive are you? So there's that, because they don't want to be shamed. But I think it's something more.
You do?
Yeah. I think... Okay, so we talked about vampires. Vampires are fascinating. What is one trait of vampire?
You give blood, they give you eternal life.
Yes, but one of the things with vampires is that a vampire can never enter your house.
Unless you invite them in.
Yes. And you may not know what you're inviting in. But as long as you do that, it's it. So you know about that whole thing about revelation of the process. Damn, we just went deep. Do you know what that is?
No.
In this belief system, in order to give it power, so if I wanted to levitate my phone, I would have to say in this belief system, I'm going to levitate my phone. And by saying it, it gives it power.
Sure.
Which will then enable that.
Absolutely.
So by putting out that we want to do these things in plain sight. So let's take Balenciaga. They call it in plain sight. Letting you know in so many ways we are.
This is what we stand for.
Of the dark entities. It will give them power. so you could look at what companies. Now, Target. There's a difference between LGBTQ and the gay community. That's just a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's just a lifestyle. Live your life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And there's a difference between that and bringing Satan in.
Yes.
So that's where
very
Target.
fucking true.
I have a problem with the Satan part of Target, but I believe there are certain things that are started one way, and that's where Sam Smith started as a singer, which is fine. Then I think he became gay. Then he became them.
They.
Then he became they with a horn. It's gay stopped at some point.
Yeah. And it now became Satan.
Yeah, and then there's like, so there's where that slippery slope is of like, what can you criticize, what can't you criticize, what's hedonism. To me, it goes to the deep hedonism of it's a deeper combo, dude, but it's like live as thou wilt. That's what they always say is do as thou wilt. That's the biggest conversation that they have. I mean, if you believe it, but the fact that you got me so heated because I just can't believe that you feel this.
No,
way.
but I see it though as a more political drive. I see it as a push for communism.
For sure, but why bring Satan into it?
Because it breaks down the American value. We're a Judeo-Christian culture. So bring in Satan, bring down the Judeo-Christian kind of foundation to the country, whether you subscribe to it or not. The Bill of Rights was based on Judeo-Christian values.
Okay.
And, has it taken a minute to get it fucking ironed out and figured out? Sure. We still going through that process? Yes. It's not a perfect, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights was always seen as a living, breathing thing. It will grow, it will change, it will evolve. But I do think that that bringing in the Satanism, bringing in a lot of the strange kind of sexual stuff is a push for communism.
Yeah, there's just a lot of take out Satan for a second. There's a lot of sexualization.
Yes.
That is bizarre.
Yes.
Like have the brightest colors at Target, say pride, do all of this stuff. Just don't mention any sexuality.
Yeah.
Just let a child be a child.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's it. It's just nothing else. Like have the rainbow colors, do whatever you want, but like that's where I'm going to say this is odd. So when you're talking about this, think about this. I do a joke about this. But people are scared to criticize because they don't want to look at some sort of hater. But it's like, that's why comedy is so important. Postmates last year. I say this is I think Pride Month has never been more visible, and people argue, and I'm like, yeah, the flag was everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everyone was coming out. I saw a gay building. My bagel was gay. It was poppy seed. June 1st had a rainbow through it. It transitioned. But here's what you want to say. Corporations went overboard with Postmates. Postmates did something called a bottom-friendly menu.
Fuck off.
No, I will not.
Fuck off.
I will not.
Oh my God.
Dude, bottom-friendly menu. And what they did was they basically said, if you're going to fucking
do butt stuff.
Yeah, during the month of June, here's the foods you should avoid. And it was always some sort of bean. So beans were fucked, right? And so basically what the menu was basically saying, gonna fucking go little Indiana Jones on your fucking lover. This is a very limited target audience, and they're targeting a part of the couple that's usually targeted. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're sexualizing
things that don't need to be sexualized.
Okay. And so, but think about this. What if they would, and first of all, they didn't even, lesbians are going, yo, what about us? We don't get a menu because what are they going to say? Like, all right, ladies, it's the all-you-can-eat butch breakfast bonanza. All the breakfast tacos you can eat out. Like, that would be, but what if they did it for straights? Wait, they wouldn't say, all right, ladies, New Year's Eve, you're going to party? Plan to give a blowjob? Here's the gag reflex menu. They would be skewered.
They would.
But we can't say this shit. Holy fuck, that scared the fuck out of me. That's Satan right there. Jesus God. I thought that was, holy Jesus Christ. I thought that was Pete. I thought that was Pete. Holy Jesus Christ! The engineer just changed. He's got super long hair. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
dude. He's a shapeshifter. He's a skinwalker.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's just this weird thing, which is, again, sexualize everything. Sure, you want to make it about the deterioration of society, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But what about Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah.
What about fucking
And
my
how-
poodle
and-
in public and going, we're in a relationship?
We're in a relationship.
Look at Hannah. I'm saying it's getting
Weird.
Yeah.
It's getting dark. It's getting weird. And as
getting
I
dark.
said, this story ends in fucking destruction. It just does. It's history. You know, whether it's people kind of spiraling into some dark fucking, occult type religion, or we fucking implode because no one wants to get a job and they just show their buttholes on the internet. Like, it doesn't end well. The road that we're on. And every person in fucking power is so blinded and is so fucking greedy and is so driven by their own narcissism that it can never be fixed. It's the way I look at it.
I only hope that I feel like things are being exposed.
Yeah.
And hopefully people stick to the exposing them.
Yeah. And, it's funny, and having kids, it's a cliche term and everyone fucking uses it, but like where I'm at now, it's like I'm just trying to raise good citizens.
Yeah, I know you told me that.
Just be a good fucking citizen. Don't, let people be the way they want to be. Don't tell people how they should be, you can agree or disagree, but it doesn't, whether you disagree or not, it doesn't give you the right to then tell people how they should live. I'm a firm believer of attraction rather than promotion. It's one of the foundations of 12-step recovery. It's what I've been, it's what I've subscribed to for, most of my life. And I think that notion, that concept of attraction rather than promotion has just been brutalized. Everything's promotion, and if you're not the way that the billboard is promoting, if you're not that, you have to be ostracized and outcast, and you are not a member of society. And that I don't agree with. Everyone can exist. There's enough fucking space.
I agree.
There's
enough room. There's enough food. There's everything if greed was taken out of this equation.
Yeah.
Cow and chicken, you can make your own cheese, your own butter. I've been looking into this.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally have enough animals.
Yeah.
Grow enough vegetables. You don't even need that many vegetables.
No.
It's more about fruit.
Yeah. I think you need
bees for the honey.
Yep. I think you need like 5 acres per family or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a huge amount of land to survive for an entire year. If you have the right, like,
I don't think you need that much.
Yeah.
You can grow hydroponically.
Yeah. Yeah, year round. Fucking put it all indoors.
Yeah.
This has been a fucking great podcast.
This is crazy.
This is fun.
Did I say too much?
We're giving Rogan a run for his money on this one. We've had to change cards out twice. Well, shit. Jamie.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. This has been fucking rad.
I appreciate you. Go find me, jamiekane.com. You can follow me on tour.
Yeah. And make sure you click like and subscribe. And if you're listening, well, if you want to listen to this and not watch it on YouTube or anything, go look for us wherever you find podcasts.
Yes.
Jamie, and what's your podcast and all that?
Hate to break it to you. It's on YouTube. You can go to my website to see everything, but it's on YouTube, Spotify, it's everywhere. But hate to break it to you. I have a Patreon where I do some of my crazier takes that I can't say on YouTube.
Yeah, this might have to live on Patreon.
Yeah. Why not?
Alrighty.
Thank you, bro.